What's up guys, it's Mike with Shallow Reefing, coming back at you with another video, and today it's finally happening. I'm finally starting my Fauna Marin regiment. I got the tank exactly where I need it to be. Everything is smooth sailings for now, fingers crossed, but let's take this up to the next level with Fauna Marin. So you can see I have a ton of their products on the table. I'm still using my BRS supplements because, well, I bought like a ton of them and they're gonna be good for about, 2 to 3 more years. So we're gonna be doing all these supplements, and maybe one day I might switch over to Fauna Marin, their balling system, but I kinda like what I got going on right now. So you can see we got the Food Energizer, the Coral Dust, Coral Balance, Aminos, their Min S, their Coral Sprint, and their Organic. So I'm gonna break down each and every product and tell you exactly what I'm gonna be doing with each product and what each product does. Right, Spencer? Wah! So with everything added up for the Fauna Marin program, even with the Food Energizer, which I'm going to be putting into some of my fish food, we're talking $231 for all this. And if we go by, how much each of it costs, how long I can dose it for, I mean, for the Min S, I can dose it for 500 days, which is insane because it's super concentrated. Cool thing about this program is a lot of these have like a synergistic approach. So if you're dosing one versus the other, you have to dose less of it because they kind of take everything into consideration versus if you're just dosing, Coral Balance by itself. Keep in mind, all this is on the packaging and it's also on Fauna Marin's website. So double check everything I'm saying. Don't take my word as gospel. One of the cool things about Fauna Marin is that it tells you exactly what each product does, and you even have a little go-to about, hey, this is what you need to do and this is why you need to do it. It's amazing. I recommend you read over it and we will get started. This is not a complete how-to of everything because, Claude Schumacher is probably gonna kill me because I'll get things wrong, but this is what I'm gonna be doing for my setup. Yes, I made sticky notes and I have a little cheat sheet here. So I will tell you a little bit about each product and what I'm doing with it. All right, so this is just aminos. I'm gonna be doing 4 milliliters of this every day. This is their Min S. It is like a coral food. It has a little bit of aminos. It has a little bit of everything in it. I'm not really sure what it's made out of, but I'm about to open it. Everyone always tells me it smells horrible, like, the garbage disposal of the ocean. But I guess they put a bunch of like oysters and clams and stuff and grind them up, and they make it really, really dense with their nutrition. So that's why you only need to do 1 milliliter of this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday is what I'm gonna be doing. All right, so this is their Coral Sprint. This is a general food that you can put into the tank, and I'm gonna be dosing this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm gonna do 1 scoop because 1 scoop's for 132 gallons. It says start low, which is exactly what I'm doing. But when I'm doing that, I'm also gonna put in this food vitalizer. I'm gonna put a drop of that in each scoop that I'm gonna be dosing. So these two go hand in hand, and this will be used for another. So this thing right here is what I'm most excited about with this entire process, because it is kind of like something you put in once a week. I'm gonna do 2 scoops once a week with this, but this Coral Balance is kind of insane. Let me just read to you the claims of this. Significant increase in polyp expansion and color intensity, stabilizes acidity and regulation in reef aquariums, increase the resistance of corals, reduces undesirable trace elements and detoxifies aquarium, increases skimmer performance, and reduces nitrate deposits. But the one thing that's crazy is reduces the PO4 concentration sustainably and permanently. That is what I'm going to be looking to see, and that is what I'm going to be testing with this Coral Balance. Gonna be interesting to see if this actually pans out and does everything it says. But 2 scoops once a week, we'll see how it works. Now this is the basic Coral Dust, which is mostly for zoanthids, Ricordea, Goniopora, and I'm just gonna be doing this once a week. I'm gonna be target feeding it to the corals. All right, let's see if this is the writing of a madman. We have Sunday to Saturday. I'm gonna do 4 milliliters of amino every day, 2 milliliters of organic every day, 1 milliliter of Min S Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 scoop of Coral Sprint on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Thursdays, I'm gonna do the Coral Balance. I'm gonna do 2 scoops of that. And on Saturday or Sunday, it kind of depends on how my weekend's going, I will be doing 1 scoop of that coral dust and target feeding it. Also throwing in that food energizer when I can. After going over all that and kind of breaking that down, just doing a surface level review of it with you guys, it's no wonder why people don't really use all these products in conjunction, because you're gonna have to know a lot to kind of know where to place, you know, where to dose, when to dose. Also, with my system being older, I'm cutting the doses down on some of them, and there's interactions between some of them, and they reduce the dose because of it. But if you're gonna do this, I mean, I'm just gonna do it myself and see how it turns out, and you guys can follow along with me. But if you're gonna do this, do your research. Listen to Reef Bum when Claude Schumacher is talking to him. Read it on your own. There's a lot to read, which is kind of overwhelming, but the Germans kind of go really cerebral with everything. So I'm hoping that I might get some really good results from this. All right, well, I guess I'm not getting any pictures tonight, but I'm gonna get a couple before and after pictures of, you know, the corals and kind of compare after like a month. I want to see if I do this for a month solid, really stick to it, if everything is going to turn around, get better, get worse. We're going to measure my levels. You're going to compare them, see if my phosphate decreased, see if my nitrate has increased or decreased, any of that other stuff. I have it all logged. So in the morning, I'm going to take some pictures of this. All right, so since starting this whole program, I'm about 2.5 weeks in, that skimmate is super dark, like way darker than I normally have it. And I don't know if I can equate it to coral balance and how it's supposed to be making the water clearer, reduce PO4, reduce undesirable trace elements, detoxify aquarium. I don't know. I just know my skimmer is, Spencer, stop eating that. Don't eat that. So I just know that my skimmer is producing way more gunk, and it's a thicker skimmate. It's not that thin stuff, it's definitely thick. So I don't know, maybe it has something to do with it. And I'm failing at dabbing right now. At least he seems to be happy. All right, guys, so it's been a little more than a month. It's been about a month and 3 days since I started this Fauna Marin program. So let's send out an ICP test and test my levels to see exactly where I'm at. Now this is the Fauna Marin test, and it looks way different than the previous one. And that's all that this comes with. The other test looked just like the ones that I saw online. This one I got from saltwateraquarium.com. Looks completely different than it. You don't even have that other 20 milliliter syringe to pipe water in with a filter. So interesting. I don't know if they're trying to save money or what, but kind of not cool when you're giving me a free promo product, kind of, because I bought a bunch of your stuff for the ICP test, and then when I actually buy the ICP test, it looks completely different than the one that I had previously gotten. But if I get good test results, I really don't care, and we're gonna ship it. Okay, so after going through all the forums and stuff, and scrolling down, it says important, you can only register samples with the newer barcode. Older tests 4 and 3 digit can not be registered and must be sent with the enclosed completed form. So one of the things that's come back with a vengeance is cyano in the last couple, weeks. First week, second week, not too bad when I was doing all this, but now we're kind of seeing the cyano popping up, and I've been siphoning it out. There's just spots here and there, but now it's really starting to take off. So, yeah, got to figure out what to do with all this cyano. But we'll send out the ICP test and see what it says. By the way, look at all those sun-kissed bounce mushrooms. They are just going bonkers. Alright, so this is a little bit more than a month, and my levels are at 9.4, 470, 1470 magnesium, 7.6 nitrate, and 0.27 phosphate. And that's where they started, so a little bit more nitrate and phosphate, but pretty much everything else is right in line. And I got rid of a lot of coral in the meantime, which means if I've got rid of dozens of coral and tons of frags and gave them to Mike and a couple other people, and I had to kill a bunch of zoanthids, well, not zoanthids, mushrooms, that means my alkalinity consumption is increasing, but I'm trying to keep it stable by getting rid of a bunch of stuff, but everything else is growing in there, which is very evident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably wait until the ICP test comes back. That'll give all this Fauna Marin stuff, about, you know, 5.5, 6 weeks of running in the system. Then I'm gonna go look at the corals and see how everything's going. I can definitely tell, even from this distance, that my Goniopora right there are insane. The Alveopora in the front is like stinging the bejesus out of them, but look at that polyp extension. It's pretty awesome. And then I'm looking at this tank from, I don't know, 5-6 feet back, and I can see how fluffy the Euphilia and Fimbrophilia are, and my Duncan is. I mean, I can just see it from here. So we'll see what the SPS and my before and after shots look like, but I'm pretty happy overall. Minus the cyano, which I think the cyano is because my phosphate and nitrate are out of balance again, even more so. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this test I got from saltwateraquarium.com, I sent a picture of it to Fauna Marin, and they're like, that is a very old test, because most of them have the 4 digits that were old, and these have 3 digits, and the new one that I got, if you saw another video, was in a nice box, so this is very old, which it doesn't really matter, but that just means that saltwateraquarium.com has not run through these ICP tests at all from their first batch, so like no one's buying them. Interesting. Alright guys, it's been 5 weeks since I started using Fauna Marin in their entire method, and you know, I gotta say, I like it. But if you can't tell from this picture or this video from this distance, I got an issue. That is my cyano is back. I will say already that I don't even think I have a picture of this Lobo, but this Lobo is doing amazing. My LPS is just growing like, I mean, the tentacles, the polyp extension, sorry, on this Goniopora is insane. My little Euphilia garden's gone crazy. Octospawn's done really well, and I don't know if you knew this, but there was a big circle up here which was from one of these Favites. Wherever you guys are, I think there's another one that I have hidden in the back somewhere. Yeah, it was up here, and it absolutely got destroyed by mushrooms. My mushrooms took off like I've never seen in my life. Those mushrooms hidden all the way in the back are so fat, so fluffy, they're kind of going all the way around underneath this little area right here, and the mushrooms are just taking so much so that I had to calc paste them because they were just growing like weeds. So yes, this is definitely doing some good, but there's only one thing I'm not happy about. Well, 2 if you count the cyano, is, you know, that green slimer starting to look not as good as it once did when I was doing the witch hazel, which I'm equating that to those amino acids are feeding that pathogenic bacteria, which is only on that one coral. Stinks. But let me be 100% honest, I only did the Fauna Marin method and water change and ran carbon. Nothing else was done. I did not put witch hazel in, I did not put phosphate E in, I didn't do any ChemiClean, nothing. This is just straight the Fauna Marin products. Now, what I will say is, if it were me not doing a video series on this and trying to be as honest and forthright as possible, if it were me and I were just doing this on my own, I'm not making video series, I would definitely be putting in some phosphate E once in a while to bind up those phosphates, and then do that water change, remove it, and then I think that would help with cyano, where I wouldn't even have to hit it with ChemiClean, but I'm gonna need to hit this thing with ChemiClean just to clean this all up and make it nice and pretty once again. Alright, so while I'm waiting for ICP test to come back, I just honest to God cannot take any more of this cyano over here. Alright Spencer, what do you think? We need to get some ChemiClean in the system now? I think so too. So guys, I'm gonna get some ChemiClean in the system. You guys know how to run it. Don't grab my microphone! So while I wait for my ICP test to come back, I thought I'd test the claim of this coral balance. So you can kind of see my ICP test was sent out up here. Still haven't got it back yet because it's going to Germany. These are my current parameters. Mostly want to look at the nitrates and phosphate. So let's put 2 scoops of this in the tank and see if it's going to lower the nutrients in 24 to 48 hours. I haven't decided if it's 24 or 48 that I'm going to test again. I have to say, mixing this up in the specimen cups that you get with your coral frags, pretty easy to do. Mixes pretty well. So I'm going to mix this up and pour it in the tank. And let's let it flow. Woo! That clouds up the water real nice. This has to be some sort of polymer that binds with nitrates and phosphates in the water column. I'm not sure what it is. We'll see if it works out, but you can kind of see the whole tank's cloudy. Nothing to worry about. It seems pretty natural. I'll be back in 24 to 48 hours and test the levels. Well, this is kind of shocking. I would have suspected that I would have had some difference with that coral balance. I have no difference in my phosphate and my nitrate. In fact, they are the same numbers. I don't even know if I could get the same numbers again if I tried. That is pretty impressive that the retest on the Hannah checkers were that. But that also means that coral balance, I don't think it's doing much. I thought it might carbon dose or do something. I don't know. However, I will say my skimmate production's through the roof because I just cleaned out my skimmer yesterday, and in 24 hours it pulled out that much, which is more than double what it normally pulls out in a 24-hour period. So coral balance does something. It definitely might bind to some of the stuff in the water column and pulls it out. I don't think it's an overnight fix, but it definitely is doing something in the reef tank. What do you think, Spencer? Now let's get to some before and after pictures. Alright, so I want to go over my Fauna Marin results that I just got back after using their method, doing the water changes like they said, and using that coral balance and all the, the organic that has some of the trace elements bound up in it. Wanted to see how I would do. So you can see this is my previous test results from Fauna Marin. And now this is my current test results. You can see huge improvements from one test to the next in the matter of a little less than 3 months. Pretty good. So the cool thing about Fauna Marin is that you can actually go right here and click zinc, and that's where my zinc levels are now. They were at 55 last time, now they're at 11. And one of the things that I also had way off, so you can kind of see that was the old one, 55, was my manganese. My manganese was through the roof at 0.889. And now my manganese has fallen completely within an average range right there. Actually, pretty dang good. So everything I've been doing with water changes and using the Fauna Marin, coral balance might have something to do with it, because it does say it's gonna take out some unwanted heavy metals or trace elements that you may not want. And also using that organic has done really well with, kind of giving me some of those traces in the correct amounts. So this is my previous strontium at 5.19, and it's at 5.13 right now, and I've increased my dosage of strontium by double, and I went from 5 milliliters once a week to 10 milliliters once a week. Hasn't done anything, so I guess I'm gonna have to go up another step and do maybe 20 milliliters. That apparently Brightwell, their strontium is not that concentrated, unfortunately. Tank is looking great. So let's see, my summary of this. So this is the shot that everyone wants to see. What am I gonna keep? Well, we obviously know this coral balance. I'm probably gonna just kind of use it and maybe not really get it again. I don't think it does as much. My tank never runs high nitrates, really. And I'm not too worried about pollutants now that I got it under control with all those water changes. I'm not gonna really get that anymore. Amin, you know, I think that could work for you. If you don't have any pathogenic bacteria attacking a coral like mine is, for sure. I think this, if you got stressed out corals, for sure. If you don't have any, negative bacteria in your tank like I probably do, yeah, I could probably do a bacterial test and see, but I'm not gonna do that because you kind of see from my witch hazel method. And now, yes, there's definitely bacteria, and I think aminos are feeding it based off of reef moonshiners. But all these pretty much cover what I want to do with my reef in the future. I'm going to continue using Coral Sprint because this stuff is awesome. Love broadcast feeding it. Got the coral dust, gonna target feed that. Organic, gonna go from 2 milliliters to 4 milliliters because when you pair it with Amin, you only need 2 milliliters, but now I'm not gonna do that, so it's great. This Min S lasts forever. I mean, forever. This stuff will last me like a year. And then this food energizer, awesome to put on your coral dust or your Coral Sprint. Doing really well. I love it. I'm very happy with my purchases. All right, guys, so you've seen my video, you've seen the pictures of the before and after. I kind of gotta trim a couple corals because they're touching each other now. But I'm pretty happy. My corals are looking really good, especially now that like all the cyano is gone. But the Fauna Marin is where I think you can really get your coral nutrition. Elements are pretty much the same anywhere. I mean, I think Tropic Marin and Fauna Marin are pretty comparable in that regard, getting your trace elements and your quality two-part. But I think Fauna Marin definitely has it up like a notch above most other people with their program on their coral nutrition. And I've really enjoyed feeding my tank. It's been really wonderful. Now the regimen is kind of like stick to this, and I kind of did like a slightly modified one, but I kind of was more in tune with the tank. And as you can see, everything looks pretty good and everyone's pretty happy in the tank. So guys, should you buy Fauna Marin? I really think you should consider it, especially if you just kind of want to dabble in it. I would highly recommend getting the Coral Sprint and the Min S and the Food Energizer. If you need one, probably that Coral Sprint is awesome, but that Min S, whew, it stinks, but man, it is wonderful when you can kind of see the polyp extension on your corals. So that is my recommendation. If you guys want to get into it, pretty cheap, pretty easy. BRS has some of Fauna Marin's products, but if you really want to look for it, you need to go to saltwateraquarium.com. Not a plug, not sponsored. Maybe one day I'll be like one of these reef YouTubers and get a sponsorship. But until then, I'll just be independent and do my own thing. So guys, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. Give me a like, give me a comment below. Let me know how you like the content. And as always, I will see you later.